I'm Ben, and today we're going to look at a couple of different ways to make folded omelets, those omelets that have the cooked eggs folded around the filling, the vegetables, the cheese, whatever else you're using. That's a little different than, for example, a frittata, an Italian-style flat omelet, in which the vegetables and the cheese, whatever, are combined directly with the eggs. We're going to be looking at a simple single-fold omelet, in which it's folded in half, and we'll also look at a tri-fold type omelet, in which it's folded into 3 parts. We're also going to look at the all-important flipping the eggs step. I'll show you about flipping the eggs, and if you're still not comfortable doing that, I'll also show you another way to do it, a much simpler way, kind of a cheater's way to do it. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm hungry, so let's get started. First, I've prepared the filling we're going to be using in both of the omelets we'll be doing. There are countless fillings you can use, of course, anything you like, really. But in this case, we want the emphasis of the video to be on the cooking and the folding of the eggs. So here I'm just using a simple mixture of peppers, shallots, garlic, and mushrooms. We're also going to add some cheese later. You can see I've separated the mixture into a larger portion and a smaller portion, and sautéed the larger portion. That's going to be the filling. I've left the smaller portion not sautéed. That's going to be the topping, kind of a garnish, that we'll put on the finished omelet. By having the sautéed vegetables inside and a little bit of the same vegetables but not sautéed on top, you can layer the flavors and textures in kind of an interesting way. The other thing about the filling, you'll notice I've got it on foil instead of putting it in a bowl, and the reason for that's very simple: fewer dishes to wash. You can do that with a lot of ingredients you measure out when you're cooking and baking. Just put them on foil or wax paper. To begin, heat a non-stick pan over a medium-low heat. Medium-low heat is important. Anytime you're cooking omelets or scrambled eggs, fried eggs, anything of that nature, low and slow gives you a nice, fluffy texture. Add some olive oil, and we're going to put a little butter or butter substitute in. Now, you don't want to kill the eggs with oil and butter, but having enough oil and butter in the pan will be critical to flipping the eggs later, so you don't want to have too little either. When you do this, just make sure that you oil and butter not only the bottom of this pan, but the sides too. That's also going to be important later when we go to flip the eggs. You really want to get it all around there like that. Just move it around. That's good coverage. Next, we're going to add our beaten eggs, or egg whites, or egg substitute eggs, whatever you're doing. You want to beat 3 eggs, or use 3 eggs worth of egg substitute, whatever you're doing. You can also add a splash of milk to the eggs. A lot of folks do that to give it a nice creamy texture. Not too much, just a splash. And you want to stir it up really hard to get air bubbles in there to give you a nice fluffy egg. You want to season it with some salt and black pepper. And then when we cook the eggs, you'll see that the edges will cook first. So you just keep pushing the edges when you're cooking it into the middle and letting the uncooked liquid go over to the edge where that can get cooked. Just keep pushing it in. There we go. Beautiful. Now, for more flavor and also a nice appearance, I'm adding here some dried basil. You can use any herb you like, really. I just like basil. Or you don't have to add any herb. It's up to you. If you do this, you want to rub the basil a little bit to release the oil. Don't just drop it on. Rubbing it is something you want to do in general when you use dry herbs. Also, you want to add dried herbs later in the cooking process than if you were using fresh herbs, because dried herbs just need less cooking time. We should be just about ready to flip. Now, we want to make sure the egg moves freely in the pan. That's important. And to see if the eggs are done enough, you see, we're starting to get, it seems to be firm enough that we can start thinking about flipping. The other thing, we'll use the method to see if it's done that the French call the lay lifted up and look method. You saw that done there. we're just about ready to flip the eggs. When you're flipping the eggs, there are really several key things. First, we're using a non-stick pan, and we're lubricating that pan with enough oil and or butter to make things work. You also want to make sure the top of the egg, while it's not finished cooking, you want to make sure it's firm enough. It should have just started to gel. It shouldn't be real liquidy. You want to make sure, as we saw, that the egg moves freely in the pan. That's important. And then the other thing, yeah, that looks about done. Looks like we're ready to flip. The other thing is concentrating. There you go. Concentration matters here. Let's see that again in slow motion. There's the wrist action, the flip. Beautiful. It's good. Back to live action now. With the egg flipped, now we're going to add our filling for our simple omelet that we're going to fold over just once. First, we want to add the filling to one side of the egg. Get it all to one side. We'll put get a little cheese on there to hold it together, just because we like cheese. And then, there you go. What's an omelet without cheese? Get a little more. Good. And then we want to fold it over. And one of the things that the cheese will do, besides tasting good, the cheese will almost act like glue. Now, yeah, I do put kind of a lot of filling in there. When I make an omelet, it's almost like an egg calzone, but that's okay. We're cooking it on the bottom, and now in a moment, when we feel like it's done on the bottom, we're going to use the spatula to very carefully turn the omelet over so that we cook the other side. Ready? Just going to use the pan and the spatula together. There you go. To get it turned over, this lets the other side cook as well. Looks good. Now we've got a plate that's been decorated with a little ketchup. Yes, I'm one of those people who puts ketchup on his eggs sometimes. Mea culpa. Get the egg on there. We want to add our topping. Now these are the vegetables that we didn't saute. The same vegetables, but these are the ones we didn't saute. We just get those on top. Make it look nice. We want everything to be nice and neat. And there you go. Doesn't that look nice? Another way to do an omelet, aside from the simple single fold that we just did, is to do a tri-fold. It starts the same way, of course, with cooking the eggs. And when we do this, by the way, we flipped, of course, we used a regular wrist flip on the first omelet that we did. But as I mentioned in the introduction, if you're not comfortable doing that yet, when we do our tri-fold omelet now, I'm going to show you another way to flip an egg, kind of a cheater's way that's real easy. Starts off the same way. Get your hot pan going over a low and slow heat. Get your oil in there, a little bit of butter. Move it around. We want to make sure not only the bottom of the pan gets coated, but the edges as well, the sides where the egg, a lot of the egg is going to be cooking. Get our egg in there. It's got a little splash of milk in, just a splash, that we stir up very rigorously to get some air bubbles in there to make it nice and fluffy when the air bubbles expand and go throughout the cooked egg. Season it with our salt and pepper. And of course, as it cooks, we'll be doing exactly the same thing. It cooks primarily on the edges, so we'll be moving it around, pushing the edges inside and letting the inside flow back outside. We'll be adding our basil as before, of course, giving it a little rub to release the oils and give us a nice flavor in addition to the nice color. Let's see, are we ready yet? Using our Le Look method as we discussed. And now we're ready to do this very cool flipping thing. Just slide the egg out onto a plate that's large enough to contain the egg. Put it back over the plate, turn it over, and there you are. No anxiety over flipping it or messing up the flip or anything like that. Very simple. Once it's flipped, now we want to add our filling. Now before, when we made the single fold omelet, we put all the filling over to the side. For the trifold, we want to add the filling right along the center line, right in the middle. Let's get it nice in the middle there. We'll add our cheese, of course. What good are we if we don't put cheese on? Ah, there you go. Now to fold this over, we use our spatula. Here's a little trick to this. We use our spatula to turn the one side over. So now we've got the filling in the middle, one side pushed over the filling. Make sure that cheese gives you a nice seal there. And here's what we're going to do. We get our plate ready that we're going to be putting the omelet on. Again, I've decorated it with a little bit of ketchup. That's just me. Now you want to push it onto the plate, lead with the unfolded side, and then use the plate to just flip it up over the unfolded side. Flip the folded side over the unfolded side to form the nice omelet. And there you have it. Put your garnish on top. Keep it nice and neat. We want a nice, neat looking plate. Good. And I would say that looks good enough to eat. Well, I hope you enjoyed this demonstration about omelets. I certainly enjoyed making it for you. If you liked what you saw and you'd like to see more, there's more waiting for you at the Kissing the Cook Recipes website. I really hope I can meet you there. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Till then, stay well, keep it about the food, and always remember to kiss the cook.